recap. I love it.
It's time for the recap.
Recap week one. Boom, 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 boom.
Dames is in the lead. You went 12-4. I went 11-5. So we were close. We'll kind of shoot through these games. Some of them, some really interesting storylines. Some of them, kind of run-of-the-mill games. Starting out, former reigning champion Kansas City hosting Baltimore, 27-20. Baltimore gets a touchdown to tie the game at the end, but Isaiah Likely's foot is on the line. Incomplete pass, game over. Chiefs win. It was a good game. I thought both teams played pretty well. A couple unnecessary penalties by the Ravens, I think, held them back a bit. But kind of the quality of game I was expecting from these two teams.
I heard people say he should have wore white shoes. And I say, not after Labor Day, bro.
No, if Serial Mom has anything to say about it, I would definitely agree.
You agree, though. That's a clear call. His foot was on the line.
His foot was on the line. It was, and I have Isaiah
Lamar
Likely. I have
Jackson,
Isaiah Likely in fantasy, so it was even harder to admit that. But
Lamar Jackson is adamant that was a touchdown.
I, that's Lamar Jackson's opinion to have. I was adamant that what's his name? Who was that Cowboys receiver who caught the ball and then like dropped it and in the playoffs against the Packers?
I don't see your game, bro.
I know. I was like, he was like one of the bigger Cowboys receivers. I can't remember, but where it's like he caught it. I was adamant that he didn't until like a couple years later, and I'm like, yeah, he caught it. It's fine. Um, anyways, moving on. Um, Philly Packers. Um, also, Jalen Hurts. First pass was also an interception. So you guys have that in common. Um, Philly pulls it off. Kind of a back and forth game. Not great defense playing. Saquon balled out. Man, he looks good as an Eagle. I'll tell you what. Jazz. Sorry, dude. It was the Giants. It was never Saquon. Um, and yeah, we both got it right. I remiss. I hate you hate to lose, but losing the quarterback is the bigger issue there. But Philly, we'll see them again.
I do want to go back to the last game for a second because my
Okay.
Gobo sucks video that I posted on TikTok has almost 1,000 views for picking. And here's the thing. I was gonna pick Kansas. I was gonna pick Baltimore, but you went.
I went first. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about. All right, so this game, the field sucked. Apparently, it looked great. The city looked great. The crowd was great.
Yeah.
I saw Marshawn Lynch jerseys. I saw every kind of jersey you could possibly see there.
Right.
So these people are amped up for football, and they deserve football. I take it all back. They deserve to see it. I just hope that they can get this shit together so that the fields are not. I mean, I don't want to blame this injury on the field conditions, but how can you not?
I
I
mean,
mean,
it's pretty hard not to.
I mean, what happened to his ankle, you could see, and it looked really bad, really painful. And I'm glad that it's not season ending. I'll just say that. But uh, another thing I noticed, they don't look as good on the brotherly shove without Kelsey. Um, I noticed a couple times they had to do it twice in a row to try and get it. And I thought, boy, this might be the end of that whole thing.
They hard counted us once, and it worked. They got the first down,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I
yeah.
that's what and I said this last week is like, yeah, that Travis Kelsey, that was the rock of your O line. I mean, I don't know who plays center now, but like, I mean that just goes to show you like everyone knows Travis Kelsey. Nobody knows who plays center for the Eagles now. So um we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I think both teams are gonna have a good season. We'll see how the Packers recover with Malik. Um Third game, Pittsburgh, Atlanta. I picked Atlanta. You picked Pittsburgh because of Mike Tomlin. We kind of mentioned this. Um, the only real other thing I wanted to say about this, Kirk Cousins looked like shit. Like he just looked bad. He looked completely unprepared for this game.
Michael Penix
I
Jr.
was gonna say, it's time to pick up our Penix.
Dude, but here's my problem. How can they justify doing that when they've paid Kirk Cousins what they paid him?
Right.
I mean, you still have to make the right decision for your team, but having a guy on the bench making that much money, it seems stupid to me. But I also want to say Russell Wilson being in full pads on the sideline despite being on the inactive list is about the most Russell Wilson
I
thing
was
that
gonna say
Russell
that.
Wilson could do.
I was gonna say I'm gonna take a cue from the Gen Zs here. Is like Russell Wilson has big time pick me energy. Like he is just like the like let's go guys, we're gonna get this done, and the rest of the guys are like, will you shut up? Like yeah, it's I get it. Russell Wilson, he's kind of an adorable man, if I'm
I
being honest.
you know he is like the senile grandpa at this point. Like I'm just tuning in to see what stupid shit he'll do and say, and I love him despite it. I mean, it's such a weird turnaround for me.
Yeah,
Um, because
Russell,
he's like kind of balding a little bit, it looks like.
right? He kind of, you know, who he kind of reminds me of is the new vice president, Tim Walz. Like they have kind of the same energy where it's just like if you're like if they saw your lawnmower was broken, like Russell Wilson would be in your yard mowing your grass, just like, hey neighbor, just saw it getting a little long here. Like you know, that's just yeah, big time like dad energy. Um, Russell Wilson doesn't have anything to prove to anybody at this point. I'm glad that he's still in the league. We'll see if he feels better next week if we get to see him in the in the black and gold
Against Denver.
against Denver. Oh, he better play. I
I know.
want him to play in this game. Anyways, um, Buffalo beats Arizona. My high school teammate Samuel Sewell made his NFL debut as a coach. So proud of him. We weren't very close or really knew each other that well in high school, but his dad was Steve Sewell, played for the Broncos, and he's been coaching college since you know his college days, and then he is a special teams coordinator with the Cardinals now. So his first game, proud of him. Your team sucks. Um, Only other thing I really wanted to mention about this game, Marvin Harrison Jr. one catch.
Okay, I'll expand upon that first. Kyler Murray blamed it on the coaching staff. They said, "Why didn't you target him more?" He's like, "Hey, that's not my." He's like, "You got to talk to them." He's like, I did my job. I threw the ball where I was supposed to throw it. It's not my fault they didn't call it." But this game was a tale of two halves for me. Arizona came out on fire, and I was like, "Oh my God, they look good. They look good." And then Kyler Murray turned back into Kyler Murray and played like shit for the second half. And then you've got Josh Allen over there, who I said, as long
Josh
as
Allen
he's on
turned
that
into
team,
Josh Allen.
he's dude, he's so good.
He's so
So
good. When he's on, you can't beat him.
yeah,
He's
I mean,
inconsistent.
the things that he can overcome, like just stupid like fumbles and interceptions, he's kind of like Favre that way. Just
Mhm.
like
Doesn't phase him. He just gets back and
yeah,
does it again.
yeah. And he's like, I'm not scared to do it again. Like, but if this is what it takes, this is what it takes. And I think that's how winning is done. You win
I
through
mean,
failures.
honestly, like Josh Allen and Brett Favre, I think that's a fair comparison.
Yeah.
I think Allen's a more accurate thrower. I think Favre threw the ball harder and with more power, but I don't think anybody will ever throw the ball as hard as Brett Favre did. Um, okay, here's a doozy. I made a very prophetic guess about this game.
Pathetic.
Prophetic, pathetic,
Pathetic.
whatever. Fuck you. Um, in my defense, Caleb Williams looked like dog shit. Okay. It was mental mistakes made by the Titans, and it was the Bears defense stepping up when they needed to, and special teams. They had a fucking block punt for a touchdown. And Tennessee found a way to snatch defeat from the hands of victory. So Bears win. Who gives a shit?
Well, I do because I picked the score exactly.
You did.
It okay, and I want to go on this. Gobo says 31-28 in overtime, Tennessee Caleb Williams, 321 yards, 4 picks, 3 touchdowns, losing on a pick six. Okay, well, none of that happened.
None of that happened.
0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Uh, I think he had what, 89 yards?
Yeah, he had like 11 completions or something. Like it was
So
really bad.
the defense scored 24 points in the second half. It was 17-0 uh at halftime,
Mhm.
and then it was 24-17 at the end of the game. And those were all defensive points. That's amazing. Like if you had the Bears defense on your fantasy, you are probably a winner this week. Hilarious.
Whatever. We'll see. Because who are the Bears playing this week?
They play Houston.
Oh, that's right. We did mention that. Okay, so we'll
Houston.
we'll see. We'll see how Caleb now we'll get the four interception game from Caleb. This
Sure, I'm not
next
doing Coke,
one,
you guys. I just have an itch on my nose that I can't. Coke would be better. Go
I
ahead.
could go for like a Coca-Cola right now. Uh, what the fuck was this game? Cincinnati, New England. Um, you know, I have a theory about this. Watching this game, I think that the Patriots, like when I say that one team can't win you the Super Bowl, but one player can't win you the Super Bowl, one player maybe can make you the worst team in the league. And without the constant turnovers and constantly fucking things up that Mac Jones did to them last year, Patriots looked okay. Didn't look great. They don't really have much on offense, but their defense is decent. And without turnovers, they found a way to get this win.
Yeah, I we both were like, oh, New England sucks. Cincinnati, clearly. Uh Dude,
I don't know what's going on in Cincinnati. Like Joe Burrow
hey,
needs to get his
here's the
shit.
thing. We said we've known that they start slow for 3 years now.
Yep,
I mean, they're the ones that actually, like, when you say Kansas City starts slow, Cincinnati starts slow, and I mean, they're true to form. That was one of the worst games I've ever seen in my life. Uh,
it was
shame,
bad.
shame on them. Like the Bungles. I mean, we say this every year at the beginning of the year. It's the Bungles. So when do they get back on track? I don't think it's this week, but we'll see.
Yeah, like week 6, they'll be back. Um, couple
Oh, before we move on, Jared Mayo did get the Gatorade bath after this game. They gave him a Gatorade bath.
after
Uh,
winning one regular
I
season
mean,
game.
and like, is that like,
It was
yeah, it
his
was
first
their
game, yeah.
first game ever against a team that should have just kicked your ass and housed you in their
Right.
building. Uh, so yeah,
I mean,
props to Jared Mayo.
good for him. He also didn't do much. I think it was a defensive victory more than anything. Um, but either way, I mean, good for Jared Mayo. One of my favorite condiments. Um, moving on. We both got this right. Kind of a run of the mill game. Texans beat Indianapolis. It was closer than I thought it would be. But I think that like Houston went out to a lead. Indy got some garbage time points. I still think Houston's one of the best teams in the AFC, if not the best.
Anthony Richardson, bro, he is electric. That 60-yard touchdown pass that he had,
Mhm.
a thing of beauty. He hung in the game. He did throw a really poor interception in the red zone. Um, but considering this was his fourth game back against a seasoned playoff winning game, CJ Stroud, I was extremely impressed that they even had a chance at the end of this game to do it. Because to me, that signifies I was correct. The Colts have gotten a lot better, but also that's like his fourth or fifth game ever, dude. He was awesome. And if he stays healthy, this team is gonna be scary. I'm telling you, and I know that you don't want to hear this ahead of your game this week, which is why you have that look on your face.
I mean, I know what you're
It's
gonna say.
good. This
Fine.
team is good.
Time will tell. We'll find out. We'll find out on Sunday. Um, we were both actually really close to the actual score on this game. Miami wins 20-17. I had them winning by 4. You had them winning by 3. Um, I mean, yeah, it was a good game. Jacksonville looked better than I thought they would. And yeah, I mean, Miami, for all their offensive firepower, only put up 20 points, but it was enough to get the W, so we can't really say much about it.
I did have this game going to overtime, but I'll accept a last second field goal as
I think that's
the same
pretty
kind of
close.
thing. But I mean, just the reason you pick overtime is because you think it's going to be a close game. So the fact that it was won at the last second, I'll accept. I'll take that as a
Yeah.
win for me, especially when the score was as close as it was here. But the thing I want to note is I really wanted to pick Jacksonville in this game, but I don't know who uh I don't know who Trevor Lawrence is at this point, and I don't know who he has on his team. I just don't know the team well. I watched a lot of this game and he looked pretty good.
Hmm.
Uh I definitely I'm still on the Trevor Lawrence bandwagon, as my rookie card collection would suggest. But I mean, I can't wait to see where they go from here because that game they had in hand and they lost on a 50 plus yard field goal. So against a really good Miami team, we'll see where
I
both
mean,
those teams go from
yeah.
here.
Jacksonville, I think they're definitely like, especially if the teams in the north start to falter like they did in week 1, I think they could be looking at a wild card. I don't think they beat Houston out for the division, but it could be close. Um, let's go to this next game. This is the first game that I got right and you got wrong, which makes me very happy. Um, New Orleans,
Ah,
Carolina. You had Carolina winning big. I had New Orleans winning with an overtime field goal, and the Saints kicked the ever living shit out of the Panthers, 47-10.
yeah, that was just a brain fog on my part. I look,
I think that we all kind of internally want Bryce Young to be good.
I loved
Like I like that story, and the Panthers have had a rough go, like their best players, Christian McCaffrey and Cam Newton. Cam Newton goes to the Super Bowl, lays an egg. Christian McCaffrey gets him in the playoffs one time and then gets traded and then goes to like 2 Super Bowls with a different team. Like
dude.
Julius Peppers, yeah, great Packer. I mean, I feel bad for the Panthers, man.
I
I
might
want
not pick Carolina again. I might not pick them again this
I
season
was gonna say, I honestly
because
no.
New Orleans is not good.
New Orleans is
Can't
not.
be. They can't be.
All they got is Alvin Kamara. That's basically their whole team. And 47 points, like come on. You got to play better than that, son.
Dude, that was yeah.
And then
Bad
right
news
back
for Carolina.
and then right back to me being wrong. Jazz, I picked your Giants in maybe one of their only winnable games this season. And let's see, what was the score here? 28
28-6.
28-6. 6 points at home against a team who has almost all backups, has a quarterback that is so inconsistent he would probably be third string on most other teams, and you get laid out at home on opening day in your stupid ass Michigan jerseys. Like, fuck the Giants. Honestly, I will say that was probably the last time I will pick the Giants this season to win a game.
I love it.
Like, strap in, boys. You're getting the number 1 pick.
Let me tell you something.
Get a fucking quarterback.
The worst thing about this is it's your 100-year anniversary. You open at home with the top 100 players to ever play in your uniforms in the building. And that's what you do? Shame on you.
Like at this point, put YA Tittle in. Like wheel him
Oh
onto the
my God. This was the I know we just talked about Carolina getting housed by New Orleans, but this is somehow worse. You
it's
lost
so much worse.
Sam Darnold in your building with your inaugural uniforms on.
Right.
Come on. Awful.
Like I would not trade places with Jass right now, even with a hurt quarterback, even with blowing that lead. No way. Fuck the Giants. Um, Chargers. I don't, he's not even on the show anymore. We still dunk on him.
This is the first
Chargers.
clip I'm putting up this week on TikTok, by the way.
I love it. Chargers beat the Raiders. Cool. We both got it right.
I mean, what an underwhelming game this
I
was.
know. I don't remember anything that happened in this game, and I don't think there was a reason to.
I remember the Raiders were up early, like
Yeah.
second quarter even, and I was
Right.
like, "What? Come on, Harbaugh!" And then, of course, you know,
Yeah. Like Max Crosby's good. Good for him. I hope he wins the Super Bowl with a different team. Raiders are terrible. Um.
it'd be hard to pick them moving forward.
Broncos and Seahawks. Closer game than I thought it would have been. But Seattle gets the win. Good for them.
You called it 17-14. It was
Oh
actually a
yeah,
wider margin than you thought
so it
it
was
was.
a wider margin, and we were right in the middle because it was a 6 point. The Seattle won by 6.
And I had 10.
You had them by 10. I had them by 3. So we were, yeah. You know what? I'll
Okay,
call this a win for both of us.
so I spend all this time on this show and I'm jacked up. I'm jacked up the first night, Thursday night, Friday night. Saturday, I'm watching college football. Sunday gets here, and I'm like, finally, it's football day. After 3 consecutive days of watching football, it's finally football day. And I hated football in the first 12 minutes of that game. I
Uh,
was just like, I hate
this,
football. I felt
it's funny. There's if you're a fan of YouTube, which you are because you're watching us on YouTube right now, another channel, I think it's called That's Good Sports. It's another kind of podcast style show, and a gentleman in Denver, a big Broncos fan, and he made a video explaining why this game was one of the worst played games like in the last decade.
I
And
mean,
he's got a lot of really good points. It wasn't fun to watch.
we had two safeties, uh, almost a third in the first half.
Mhm.
And I was like, our ineptitude is next level. Okay, but this is why I'm over it already, you guys. I watched Pete Carroll for the last 100 years, right? Not make halftime adjustments. Mike McDonald goes in at halftime, makes adjustments that you can visually see coming out in the second half, and Seattle absolutely dominated the rest of the way. And the defense was incredible. I realize this is Bo Nix's first game, but as we said, he had a lot of experience coming into this game. He had all the prep time with the ones. He was the choice coming out
I was
because
like, yeah,
Wilson was the other.
he's very definitively the best quarterback on that roster.
And I mean, other than him sneaking in for a rushing touchdown, he didn't throw a touchdown on us. And I look at his stats, and he threw the ball 45 times. And I think Gino had 100 more yards with 17 less attempts. So our defense is, I noticed right away, we are not missing tackles. These guys, open field tackles have become incredible under Mike McDonald. And I can't wait to see what happens this coming week. But the halftime adjustments I never saw with Pete Carroll, I saw visually in week one with Mike McDonald. And he said after the game, he's like, nobody wavered. He's like, everybody thought that sucked. He's like, I mean, we all were just pissed off. And he's like, but none of us wavered, and we made the adjustments and went out. I was extremely happy with the result.
I mean, I'm happy you guys won. I'm happy that I picked the right team. Yeah, Seattle's got a lot of work to do before they're back into relevance. But you beat the Broncos, and you know what? That's something the Packers haven't done in several years. So good for you. Um, I feel like we've talked about this game a lot already. We haven't even mentioned it. Dallas goes to Cleveland. Dick touch guy gets his dick touched.
You know what's funny? We
I had
haven't actually
almost the
talked
right
about
score
the
to this
game.
game.
We actually haven't talked about the game. We've just talked about the
We
players.
just talked about all the guys. We talked about the
Yeah.
quarterbacks. Okay, so let's talk about the game. Um, I was right. I picked a 37-17 Dallas, 33-17 was the final. Um, Cleveland, they're underwhelming. They have their defense is their best aspect, and they got rocked by Dak Prescott and a couple of guys. CeeDee Lamb had a pretty good game. I mean, like Dallas just went out there and took care of business. But I like Dallas in the regular season. If there's no pressure to win the game, Dallas is great. That's why I think they'll win the division.
Yeah, they went into Cleveland and dismantled this team. If
Mhm.
this team had any heart and or any hopes of doing anything this season, it is gone.
Yeah. And Dallas is good, but they're not good enough to beat you like that at home. And you
Okay,
to
let
be
me ask you this. How long before we see Dorian Thompson Robinson?
and start for Cleveland?
Yeah,
Week 6.
6. All right.
Week 6. I bet Deshaun is going to say something crazy at a press conference, and they're going to have to put him on waivers. Um,
Fingers.
another pathetic um psychic moment for me. That's going to happen. Um, Up next, another rare game that I picked correctly. Um, Baker Mayfield, Tampa takes down the boys with the offensive name. Um, Kind of not a really terribly exciting game. Just Baker Mayfield went out there, he did his job, threw some touchdowns, got the win.
Every once in a while you stick your neck out for a team and you think, Jaden Daniels, new coach, new system, you know, everything is new. Uh, and you were just wrong. So I'm not yet giving up on Dan Quinn in Washington. Um, he's one of the new hires this year. I think there was 6.
Mhm.
You had just off the top of my head, Antonio Pierce in Vegas, Jared Mayo in New England, Mike McDonald in Seattle, Dan Quinn, Jim Harbaugh. Yeah. No, Raheem Morris, the Falcons. So there's 6 new coaches this season. And we want to make sure that we keep incorporating their names in here. It's just so that we all know. But yeah, this is his first game. And Jaden Daniels' first game. New quarterback, new coach, still trying to figure it out. Baker Mayfield is a seasoned pro at this point, and he's got a lot of cool wins. He's got a lot of
He's
cool wins under his
reliable.
belt.
He knocked Philly out of the playoffs last year.
And I mean, his numbers were huge
Yeah.
this game. Like 3
Baker Mayfield,
touchdowns.
he's a starter. I'm going to say it. He's a starter caliber quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
He could start for most teams, and I mean, like, yeah, he wouldn't be better than Mahomes. He's not better than Lamar. He's not better than Jordan Love. He's not better than like a lot of guys, but he's better than most other quarterbacks.
One of my favorite Baker Mayfield moments was when he was backup for the Rams. And I hate the Rams, but he came in that game and
Couldn't
they
scare
were
him.
like, we're toast. And he brought him in, man. That was great. Anyway, Jaden
Cleveland
Daniels
gave up on him way too soon.
get better. Yep.
Sunday night, Detroit Rams, damn good football game. Um, Yeah, Puka's healthy. Rams maybe pull this off, but Detroit gets the 6 point win.
Look, I was prepared to come in here and say Detroit is a Matthew Stafford away from winning the Super Bowl. That's what I was prepared to say today. And I still kind of feel that way. He's
Mm-hmm.
better than Jared Goff by
Oh,
my
100%.
image, by
Well,
my
one of them won the Super Bowl.
and to not have Puka Nakua, I know you still have Cooper Cup, but when you don't have both of those guys, you can double up,
Right. Like,
you
and then
can't put your best guy on both of them.
especially teams like Detroit where they get tremendous amounts of pressure.
Yeah, and I'm just feel like when you have your best weapon missing, it's an empty win. Oh, but this is what I want to say, you guys. They drafted Jameer Gibbs to be their running back. And Gobo, I have a serious question for you at the end of this statement. Um, the game goes to overtime. The two quarterbacks go out to midfield face to face. And this is so cool, man. These moments are so cool. Watching those two guys go out and shake hands and hug in midfield before the toss.
There's a lot of
Matthew
history.
Stafford's the away team. He gets the call it. He calls heads. It's tails. Jared Goff like immediately like shakes his hand and runs off. He's like, "Fuck yeah!" Because he's like, "We already know. We have was it Michael Montgomery? What's his first name?
Oh, what is Montgomery's first name?
Anyway,
Yeah,
this guy is a fucking bowling ball. He just
Montgomery's. Yeah,
rolled
he's
them
very
over
talented.
for 80 yards. Done. I don't. Did they throw a pass?
I don't think so. I think it was over immediately.
He ran the ball down they throats. Throats. I'm going Marshawn
Loads.
Lynch on this one. Down
Mm-hmm.
they throats. And the Rams don't get the ball back.
No, not with a
I
touchdown.
am of the opinion, and I have been of the opinion that I love this rule, but I know that I would probably hate this rule if I was on a team that didn't get the ball back. Now they changed it for playoffs, where both teams will get a possession regardless of the outcome. Gobo, what you know why I'm pleading to you about this. Do you like this rule or do you want to see it gone forevermore?
I like that they changed it so you can't win on a field goal anymore. I think that was good progress because I think that cheapens the overtime rules a little bit. That being said, I am a big proponent that college does overtime right. I think both teams should get the ball at the 25, try to score, and then if it's getting out of hand, then start going for 2 point conversions. But like, yeah, I think that the sudden death overtime rule, I mean, I understand that it's kind of in place for for preservation purposes, so that you don't want these guys playing a whole extra quarter after playing a whole game, risking injuries, what have you. But like if you think about it, if you're in the playoffs, like the Packers have lost overtime games in the playoffs a bunch of times off of crazy
Yeah.
plays.
I can't think of any. Oh wait, yes I
Oh
can.
no, right? Well, we lost that game when we didn't get the onside kick. I was like, as soon as we missed that onside kick, where I was like, we're gonna fucking lose. Um, that being said, I think it's improved, but I would still rather go to college rules. I think that if you're a truly better team, if you truly deserve the win, you should be able to make a stop. You should be able to play offense and defense.
That's the argument I keep hearing. The other team didn't even get the ball. Yeah, but half the game was stopping the other team from scoring. So
Mhm.
you can't. That's why I like the rule.
Yeah,
Again,
I
I
mean,
reserve the
it's
right to
fair
change it
that
at
they all
will.
play by the same rules, but I like the college rules better. I think it's more fun to watch.
All right, cool. I didn't think that's what you're going to say, but I appreciate your take on that. Thank you.
Sure, yeah, you bet. And then wrapping it up, um, a conspiracy theorist from New York, gets blindsided by a far better opponent from San Francisco. And no, we're not talking about last night's presidential debate. We were talking about the San Francisco New York Jets football Monday night game. Um, kind of, I mean, it kind of happened the way that we expected it to. Rodgers getting benched at the end of the game was kind of surprising.
Yeah, what was that all about?
I think that they were trying to preserve him from getting injured because they knew they weren't going to win. Um,
But there's a
I
lot of time left.
I honestly think, and I don't know if there's ever going to be anyone that will confirm this. I wonder if Rodgers said he like went to Saleh and was like, "I'm not going back in. This game's over. I'm not playing anymore."
I can see that. I don't
Like
think
he's the type of guy to do shit like that.
I don't think the respect is there. And honestly, I think if I was Aaron Rodgers, and I'm not, but I still don't respect Salah. And I'll
Oh
do
no.
all right. This is case in point. It's 26-7.
Hmm.
You score a touchdown, 26-13, and he goes for two. What are you trying to accomplish there? What in
Like
the world are you trying
yeah,
to
the
accomplish
math
there?
the math does not math on
And
that
it's
guy.
the first half. What are you trying to accomplish there?
I mean, I'll say it. I think next to Matt Eberflus, I think Robert Saleh is the worst coach in
I
the
think
NFL.
he's the worst. You're fired, bro.
Like for real. I would have
26
fired
to
him.
13.
I would have fired him at like five different points last year. Like he's and this is why the Jets suck. Is like you can't just go and get some gym bro to run your team. Like you have to have somebody who understands the game at all.
Listen to
Like
me,
the
though.
Jets don't manage games.
Listen to me. He gets that 2-point conversion, let's say. It's 26-15. What did you do?
Right, now you're down by 11 instead of
What
down
are
by
you,
12.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
I seriously was like, this guy's the dumbest coach in the NFL, and I maintain that.
Yeah. He's
Eberflus got to win on Sunday.
Eberflus had guys who made defensive plays against a shitty team, but yeah, that's fine. Um, so that's it. That was week one in the books. 17 more to go.
Sorry, I got hot there. Stupid.
I mean, I love that we get so upset about the Jets and like we're not Jets fans. I can't even imagine what Midwest Jet is thinking watching that game, but you know what? He's not on the show to defend himself. Um,
This is why he decided to
this
duck
is
out.
why I left. Yeah, it's just like I can't do it
He's like,
anymore.
I can no longer
You can only be in NFL for so long.
I
Uh,
can no longer defend a coach who's chasing points he doesn't need.
exactly. Um,